All right, Chris Fix here this morning with my man, the captain, who's been a regular on the show a few times. We're going to have a little discussion here about some issues that's facing a lot of Alabamians right now. Captain, my man, how are you?
Doing well, man. Thank you for having me back on. Appreciate you.
Hey, man, it is a pleasure. So, you know, your family, man. I've heard you talk about your children and stuff. How many people live in your household?
So we have six in my household.
Six in your household.
Yep.
Okay. So, running showers, washing a lot of clothes, cooking.
That's
You,
right, man. The whole gamut, man. Yeah. All that,
So,
man. Adults and young kids. So
yeah,
a lot of
TV
food,
screen,
a lot of mouths to be fed, and bodies to be warmed and cooled down when it's hot, and all that.
and, yeah, charging cell phones, watching TVs, using appliances and stuff like that. So, tell me, man, on average, or what's your power bill looking like?
Man, so Power Bill now is running in the 300s, right? Before I would say before um we moved where we are now in May of last year. All right, so might well say June, more like June. It was right around Memorial Day. So
Huh?
like June to about in the summertime, it had been running in the 200s. Okay. Summertime, I understand it was hot. I get it. We were running the air a little bit more. Um, but we got a bill that was well in the 400s. All right. Never seen that happen before. All right. Um, and then it kind of tapered off after that, even when it was still hot. It tapered off a little bit, but it still didn't get down to 200s or whatnot. It was still in threes. So it's been comfortably sitting at that threes, the three range. Now, the home that we lived in prior to moving to this home, um, that home we saw 200 was more rare to see. It was mostly in the
Mhm.
100s. So you
Now,
know
what year was that?
say again.
What year was that?
So we were in the previous home from 2019
Uh huh.
to 23.
Okay. So, and then you started seeing it go up. Uh, do you realize in 2022, the Alabama Public Service Commission gave four rate increases that rose the average household power bill by $250 a year?
Man, no, that's ridiculous. You said four
Uh,
rate increases?
four rate increases in 1 year.
Wow.
Let me tell you this. Uh, there was a contested runoff um, in that 2 days after incumbents Chip Beaker and Jeremy Odin secured reelection, the Alabama Public Service Commission raised your rates then.
Wow. So
2 days.
when they raise the rates, like what is them raising the rates based on?
So basically, there is no open door hearings. They go behind closed doors, and Alabama Power says they need a rate increase. Okay. Their reasoning for one of the rate increases in 2022, I think it was during the runoff, was they said rising fuel costs. Well, at that point, gas had dropped 80 cents a gallon.
Mm-hmm.
So, they will come in for whatever reason. Hey, it's costing this much to move the coal now. It's costing this much to, they will come up with a whatever figure that, whatever cost they say is affecting them, they are asking for rate increases. Now, I don't know if you're aware of this, but the Public Service Commission does not get any funding from the general fund.
So
All of
where do they get their funding from?
Okay, they get on your power bill that you pay each month. Part of that goes to fund the Public Service Commission. You're paying to fund them, and the uh, excuse me, I said that wrong. The utility, as I was getting into the tax, the utility companies fund the Public Service Commission for the privilege of regulating them. So Alabama Power, Spire Gas, what have you, they get their money. They fund the Public Service Commission. So
Okay.
you see how backwards this is. They're funding them. So obviously, when they go in there and they ask for a rate increase, people are funding you, we're going to get what they want. Now,
Yep.
what I got ahead of myself is when I had reported on this, what you probably don't know, and a lot of people don't know, but I tried to bring to their attention. You have a hidden tax each month.
All right.
Every
You said hit a tax?
hidden tax on your power bill. They are overcharging you every single month. And at the end of the year, Google it and see where Google Kavanaugh will say, I gave $10 million back to the general fund. No, you didn't, because you never got any money from the general fund to begin with. You got it all from the utility companies. Now, the utility companies pass that on to the consumer.
Mm-hmm.
So
There we go.
the give the money to them or whatever. Okay, well, I can authorize you to give me some money. It doesn't mean you have to do it. What should be done is that excess money should be given back to the ratepayer.
Mm-hmm.
Rebate. What they're doing it is they're putting it in the general fund, and they're going in North Alabama and building pet political projects in areas that is up under the Tennessee Valley Authority that they don't even regulate, that you're never even going to have any use out of. It's also going to fund the millions of dollars of bonuses for their CEOs. And then I'm sure you heard the interview I did with the Alabama employee, former Alabama employee last night about the lavish trips.
Yep.
Well, there is one thing too when I was talking about the bonuses. I wrote an article. I had a phone call from a former employee, and they told me that there's something called the performance payroll plan or something like that. So I checked it out. Sure enough, every March, there is a bonus giving to all 5,400 employees. The low man making $29 an hour is getting an $8,000 bonus. That's not bad for $29 an hour.
Not at all.
It goes all the way up. I picked out a random year. In year 2021, Mark Crosswright, who was CEO, got a
Mm-hmm.
$4 million bonus. And I can go down and name you all the other bonuses. So you're paying for this through a hidden tax that is put on the citizens by the PSC.
Well, so all right. So from my understanding is Alabama Power isn't like its own corporation, right? It's under the umbrella of what's it called? Yeah, Southern Company. So I guess in relation to the other Southern Company, states or companies, where does Alabama Power rank in how much we pay? Like, because wouldn't like Georgia Power be under that? Georgia Power, I'm pretty sure Mississippi has their own power company.
Yeah. Okay. So here's what it is. They are allowed a rate of equity for profit margins, and they come up with formulas. Just we are the one we use is no other state in the union does it. The ones like Alabama Power, like in Georgia, Mississippi, their rate of equity is probably about 5.5%, 6%. One the we're using, I think, is 13.5 or 14% that Jeremy Oden and Twinkle Kavanaugh came up with. So we're paying 38% more in power bills than what Georgia is, who falls up under the Southern Company.
Man, I'm like, how is that legal?
Well, that's a good question.
That sounds ridiculous.
So, and as the old saying goes, follow the money. I did a story about an EDU PAC that was funding Twinkle Kavanaugh. Alabama Power is funneling money. I think 2022 they funneled $4 million into these war chests to elect candidates they picked. They're putting money into PACs, and they're not supposed to have anything to do with the PSC races, but they're funding money through different PACs that goes into Twinkle Kavanaugh, Chip Baker, and Jeremy Odin's campaign coffers to keep them in office. So are they being bribed by campaign donations to continue rate increases?
That's what that sounds like. So these people that are in this public service commission, right? They get in their position based on we vote them in, or are they appointed or hired?
They are elected.
So they're elected. So who's running? When's the next election for that? Is it coming up this year?
Every 2 years there's an election for one. This year, right now, Twinkle Kavanaugh is on the ballot. She is the president of the Public Service Commission. She sets the agenda. So she's the one that goes in there and goes, okay, we're going to vote on a rate increase. She was first elected in 2010. She's going for her fourth or fifth term on this board. She will, it's funny when she campaigns about being pro Second Amendment, protecting your Christian values. She's anti-abortion.
I remember that. I remember her running.
Man, I'm supportive of that too. That has nothing to do with the Public Service Commission.
Right.
I mean,
if you in that position right there, I mean, it's all about having integrity to oversee. I mean, Alabama Power is different from like Walmart or Amazon or whatever other company. It's different because when you move to a certain area, like I didn't get to choose my power company, right? Where I live, Alabama Power covers this whole area. So the house I used to live in, matter of fact, it was a different company. It wasn't Alabama Power, it was a different company. But I mean, so I guess one thing I want to say is where you live determines what power company you use. So it's not like Alabama Power is trying to gain more people by doing certain, certain rates or certain whatever. Like there's no, you're not marketing to me. I just get what I get. Right. Yeah. And then on the flip side, compared to other electric companies or power companies, where does Alabama Power rate against those companies that are local to Alabama? I'm wondering.
I can't tell you like where they are as ranked as like where it is with Mississippi. I can tell you that you are paying the third highest power bills in the nation. You're paying more than California.
Woo! And everything's high in California. And we're paying higher rates on a power bill in Alabama. That's crazy.
Yes, third highest in the nation. And this is brought to you by the Public Service Commission. And this should not be a job that is politicized. It's not a Republican thing. It's not a Democrat thing. This is about doing the right thing.
That's it.
And they are people. I mean, we've got people out there who are, on fixed income and are having to choose between medicine and, like I saw somebody last night, he can't afford to heat his house because he can't pay the bill.
Yeah, man. It becomes like the situation with the power. Everybody needs power, right? You got to have power to, cook and make sure you keep your home cool or warm depending on the weather. Like there's so much that goes on with it, and it's like you have to pay that bill. but it's
And
like, but you need food at the same time. Like you got to go grocery shopping, you got to put gas in your car. Uh, so many
I
other
know.
bills that you have, right? People have phone bills, whatever the other bill they have. It's crazy that bill. I mean, granted, everything is kind of gone up, right? Whether it be cable bills, which a lot of people are cutting cable for that reason, but
Right.
gas has gone up. I mean, everything has gone up. Inflation has happened, right? We're in a country that's run by a president that just doesn't care about any of this stuff. So these rates have gone up, but it's ridiculous that the power seems to have elevated past the gas, the food, your everyday necessities. It makes no sense. Like I try to look at things and be like, okay, does this correlate with this? Can I connect this to the next thing? And to me, the power seem like it should be at a certain level and really shouldn't go too far up or too far down from that level compared
Right.
to other industries. It makes no sense.
Now, let me give you another little tidbit of information that is taking place at this den of thieves that you're probably not aware of, that I reported on last year. Um, you like going on vacation, right, man?
Absolutely.
Yeah, everybody likes going on vacation. How would you like to be going on 6 or 7 a year?
Woo, 6 or 7 a year, man.
2 years ago, or maybe it's 3 years ago, these three members of this den of thieves spent $500,000 on travel.
Wow. So hold
They
on
are
now.
going.
When you say they spent a half a million, where did that money come from?
It came from you, the ratepayer,
So
because
they
Alabama,
use so this is on the books.
um, Alabama, like I said, they're getting their funding from Alabama Power. Alabama Power is like anybody else; they passing that buck on to the consumer. So you, the ratepayer, are paying to fund Alabama Power or the Public Service Commission through Alabama Power. So
Man,
they're going. Let me tell you what they're doing. They're going to these little junkets like in Scottsdale, Arizona, New Orleans, Miami, Florida, that are like 3 or 4 days where they have a 2 hour meeting in the morning, and the rest of the day they're laying on the beach for 6 hours, eating at the finest restaurants, and guess who's paying for it?
man, that's us. We're paying for them to go. Man, that's crazy.
Now,
That's
let
crazy.
me tell you,
So what is the like is there no like committee that oversees or like regulates them? Like who regulates them? The PSC.
they're a semi-autonomous group. They give their annual report, but they have not been audited, I think, in 40 years. I mean, and I've been putting that on Twitter, audit the PSC, open their books. Let's see where this
Well, hold
money
on.
is going.
Hold on. You say they haven't been audited in 40 years? 40
It,
years?
I think it's been that long. I mean, I'm not going to say 100%. So don't quote me on that number. I don't want to, mislead anybody. But yeah, nobody is auditing the PSC and looking at where their money's going. I mean,
Wow.
they give their end of the year report, that they present, but nobody's going in there looking at this. I mean, you know, she a few weeks ago, she lied to the legislature about how she had lowered the equity rate, which she's been we raised from 13% to 5%. No, you have not. It's still at that. If I I know that lying to Congress you get charged with. I mean, is not the illegal lie to the legislature.
Yeah, that's
So and let
so
me tell
what
you,
so hold on. So when they have their meetings, so you know how like if you're if it's the city council or it's a state meeting or even the national, like when they go to have Congress, we can watch them on TV, right? We can watch them have discussions, ask questions, get those questions answered or deflected, right? They love to deflect to something else and not answer the question. But um on that same wavelength, like when it comes to the PSC, like when they have their meetings, is there some kind of way that like just regular people like me and you can go in there and watch and see what's being discussed and what decisions are being made?
we can go in there and watch, but their decisions have already been made behind closed doors.
Man, that's
So when
huh.
they come out, when they go behind closed doors, there's been no formal rate hearings, like you know, between where the public knows what Colin Power and Public Service Commission. There were no hearings in that in 40 years.
Man, this sounds like the mob.
So, and let me tell you a little bit else about this job.
This is
Um,
crazy.
you probably work 5 or 6 days a week, 10 hours a day, right?
Yep.
You know how many days they work a month?
A month?
Yeah,
So what, 15?
day.
How many? One.
One day.
Wow. So hold on. So like where do you see this
I,
information at? Like where do you see the information about like their meetings and whatnot?
you tell me.
All right, yeah. I was saying so like where do you find this information about where how long they work and that type of thing?
They have one meeting a month. That's all they do. Like Jeremy Odin lives in Coleman. You think he's driving from Coleman to Montgomery every day?
Oh, for sure
Chip
not. No.
lives in Greene
Highly doubt
County.
that.
Twinkle lives in Montgomery, so she probably um, does go to work. Uh, she has down there that you can call her office anytime. And if you have any questions, do you think she takes my phone calls? Um,
Yeah, probably
they
not.
um,
Man, hey man, you're hot on the heels, man. So I don't think they want to talk to you.
oh no, they will not talk to me at all. Like me and Caleb Hicks, he is their PR guy. Yeah, he's my boy. I like Caleb. We have email every day where I'm asking him, "Can I get a comment on this?" And I already know what the answer is. And he says, and the email always back is, "Mr. Peaks, the commissioners have no comment on this." And let me tell you a little bit more about this job. I mean, you know how much they're making?
How much?
I think $110,000 a year, 115,000, something like that.
Yeah.
And that's going to come with a state vehicle. That comes with a
All the
cell phone.
benefits.
That comes with insurance.
Man, that's just that's odd. I mean, that's just odd because they're not like to a certain extent. Like I can just me on the outside looking in. I can see the people that work for the power company making a certain amount of money because at the end of the day, it is a company, right? So I can
Yeah.
understand them having a set amount of money. Like not, I mean, I wouldn't really envision them making like $5 million or something like that, some crazy, but I can see them making their salary, right? But when you're
Mhm.
doing public service, like if you're a mayor, if you're a city councilman or whatnot, you make they typically make part-time salaries for a full-time position, right?
Yeah.
But you know what I'm saying? But when you're talking about the PSC, that's I kind of put that in the same realm of being a city council mayor type position. Like you're in service to the community. So you don't work for the company. Like, am I missing that?
Yeah. I mean, what they are supposed to be is the kind of like the they're supposed to be the protector of the Alabama ratepayer from being charged too much by the utility companies.
And instead of them doing that, they're getting paid six figures or more or whatever to basically they're working in the benefit of the company rather than the people.
Because if Terry Dunn, God rest his soul, he died just a few weeks ago, maybe a month ago. He got elected in 2010. He called for formal rate hearings. And now there's a term called Terry, they don't want to get Terry Dunn. I seen uh, Eddie Curry, investigative journalist, cover this. I don't know how he arrived at this. I don't know. But Matrix did a political hit job where, I mean, I'd seen the emails that they'd sent, man. I mean, how he got his hands on them, I don't know. But from the vice
Mm.
presidents, they were talking about what they were going to do to this man. It was so surgical. They targeted the 1,000 uh, uh, most prominent Republicans, and then the most 10,000 influential throughout the state, and then the most likely 100,000 voters, to paint this man as some kind of extremist that was going to make their power bills go up when he was actually trying to help them go down. And they went after him in a systematic campaign, funded Chip Baker, and defeated him for reelection because he wanted formal rate hearings.
Hmm. You said his name is what?
Was Terry Dunn.
Terry Dunn.
Hmm.
Huh.
Yeah, look him up. Then he tried to run again against Twinkle Kavanaugh and got beat because Twinkle is, like I said, she is a friend of the power company. And that is her. Stop it. That is her sake. That is she is the golden calf. And here's what's fixing to happen. And I can tell you, 10 days out from this right now, because I can't go into specifics about the polls that I've seen, but 10 days out, 12 days out is when it's going to start. As I call them, the fake news, yellow journalism, state-run propaganda mouthpiece for Matrix, otherwise known as Yellowhammer News, is going to start running every hit piece in the world against Robert McCollum, calling him a liberal, extremist, environmentalist, linked to Bernie Sanders, whatever you want. Just, every hit piece they can to try to make sure they protect Twinkle Capital. Because let me tell you about Yellowhammer News. They're owned by a guy named Paul Safety. And before that, it was owned by Sean Ross. Well, who are these guys? They were they ran Katie Britt, Tommy Tuberville's campaign, Twinkle Kavanaugh's campaign. So they're running campaigns for candidates that they choose, and are a news journal, and they're setting the narrative. They're picking the candidates and setting the narrative and giving it to the people. If they told me the sun rose in the east and set in the west, I'd call them a liar.
Yeah. Yeah, call it what it is.
So
that's how it's supposed to be anyway.
Do you I mean, is there any other questions I asked for you on this? I mean, the only thing I asked is, man, share this video, try to get it to as many of your friends as you can. I mean,
yeah, man. We look. Like just as a person who doesn't know the inside, like for me speaking, right? I don't know the inside information that Chris has, but just for me looking at the situation, knowing what the bill looks like when it comes every month, and knowing what it used to look like, this is a problem. This is an issue that needs to be dealt with, and these people are being elected by us, so it's in our best interest to really do some digging and research on the candidate before we go vote for a person, right? And that's me, that's Chris, that's anybody that's going out there and voting. But first of all, we need to vote. That's number one. Let's not sit at the house and act like it's not our responsibility to go vote, right?
Yeah.
Let's go out there and vote. But when we do it, make sure you have the proper information and research done so you know who you're voting for and what you're going to get in return. Like we can't stop. We got to stop playing games and just sitting by letting things happen and then complaining about it later.
Go to our website, man, and you can find articles I did on them. I mean, how stuff they're getting away with. I mean, a couple years ago, stop. Chip Baker tried to rent his property out to Alabama Power for 25 years at $5 million. He got put for ethics for that. I mean, I did a tweet the other day. I borrowed I kind of paraphrased Obama. You remember when he said, "Go out and get when you go to the polls, get Pookie and Ray Ray."
Yep.
I said, when y'all go, I said, stop by and get Earl and Skeeter and Jethro and Bubba. I said, with you. I mean,
for real.
I mean, tell everybody you can. Because think about it, man. Stop it. It's hard to Rottweiler pit bull on the play. We don't have no really important thing on the ballot, man. I mean, it's going to be, the presidential thing is going to be decided already with Biden and Trump. We got one major race on this ballot, and we got to do everything we can to throw Twinkle Kavanaugh out and send them a message.
Yeah, most definitely. Most definitely. I know I'm gonna do my research, man. I'm gonna make sure I do my research and figure out who's on that ballot and get the right person in there besides her.
The only one we got running is a guy named Robert McCollum. And everybody I talk to, I mean, I tell them, vote McCollum, vote against Twinkle Kavanaugh, make sure you go vote. I mean, this is, we may not have another chance to right this ship. And set a new pace.
Yeah, man, it matters. It definitely matters who is in any position. Clearly, in that position, it definitely is mattering because that you're saying those people are making autonomous decisions. Like they're just making the decision, and we gotta roll with whatever they say. Man. Can't hear you, buddy. Can't hear you, buddy. Can you hear me? Can't hear you. Can't hear you, buddy.
Sorry, I went mute again. I said,
There you go. Yeah.
I'm going to, get off here and let you guys know you have some stuff you got to do, but share this video, talk to your friends, man, and let's go out and vote and try to change this thing.
Absolutely. Absolutely, man. Thanks for having me on here, man.
Hey, thanks for coming on, man, and good luck to you and your family.
Thank you, man. Take care.
Bye, bro.